If your energy crashes after lunch, it's a good chance it's not the carbs you're eating, but the order in which you're consuming those carbs. People demonize carbs all the time, advocating for people to go into low carb diets or even eliminating carbs completely out of their diets. And the truth is, the fatigue, the energy slumps, the energy dips, and the tiredness you feel during the day isn't truly a result of those carbs. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to structure your meals so your energy stays stable. And this is the same structure I offer the individuals I work with, and it's a way to understand how your body actually regulates fuel. Firstly, we'll be covering how energy crashes after eating, the why behind it all, then understanding how timing and order changes the energy curve, and then finally the 4-step structure to stabilize your energy all day. Now, to dive into the why, and a good illustration is understanding this graph. Here's what's really happening when you feel that post-lunch slump. This area between these green dashed lines, that represents stable blood sugar. That's the range of blood sugar that your body wants you to be in. What ends up happening is that you are sedentary all day, you're sitting down, you're not really moving much, and when it comes to lunch, you eat a carb-heavy meal, and your blood sugar spikes, and that's represented by this big peak here. And that's when you feel energized, you feel good, but then as a response to that, your body produces insulin. It floods your blood with insulin to bring that blood sugar back down. Brings it so far down past the baseline to what is considered the slump or the crash. And at this point in the day, you feel like you need more coffee, you need something to pick you up, and you're feeling much more tired. And often people mistake this and conflate this for tiredness when in reality it's just pure it's just poor glucose regulation. And that brings us on to how does timing and food order change the energy curve? Studies show that the order in which you consume food affects the way your blood glucose is regulated. And the studies point to the fact that if you start off with your meals with eating your proteins first, your fats and fibers, before you get into your carbs, your body digests and absorbs nutrients much more slowly, and in essence, that also means the sugar that enters your bloodstream from those carbs enters your bloodstream much more steadily, as opposed to having that extreme red spike that we saw before. And what that looks like in practice is, if we look at the same graph I just showed you earlier, and I get a pen here. If you were to start your meals with protein, the fats and the vegetables before you get into your carbs, as opposed to these large peaks and troughs, you'll end up having a much more steadier rise. And then when it goes down, it doesn't go all the way down, and therefore you don't have that crash. And this is what we're trying to aim for. And that can only be achieved by having those meals in that particular, by having your meals in that particular order. And funnily enough, one of the clients I've worked with, he was a founder leading 2 teams, and he used to crash every afternoon around 2 p.m. So as soon as he'd had his lunch, he'd go through this big energy slump, and he just thought he had chronic fatigue. But even though his lunches looked somewhat healthy, the way he approached his food was always carbs first. And to add to the fact that he was sedentary all day, not moving out of his desk and eating his lunch at his desk, and starting with carbs first, it led to these energy slumps. It led to these crashes that he was suffering with. So a simple change of just the order in which he had his food and consumed his food, paired with a few other habits as well, allowed him to have a much more regulated blood sugar. And as a byproduct of that, he was feeling much more regulated throughout the day without those crashes and spikes. And that brings us to, well, what is the structure you need to stabilize your energy? What exactly should I be doing in order for me to not go through those crashes? Now, starting with step 1. It's about the sequence. Like I said, it's starting with protein and fiber first and carbs last. That one change alone, like I just mentioned earlier, can flatten your glucose spike by up to 40%. That slow release equals much steadier energy throughout the day, and you don't go through that extreme spike and slump. Moving on to 2, eat your carbs when you've earned them. Now, you probably remember me just mentioning my client being sedentary all day, not moving around, and then going straight for his lunch. Well, to expand further into that, if you're sedentary all day, your body doesn't need that fast influx of glucose. So what I suggest you do is go for a walk, a 10-15 minute walk before you have your lunch. And if you can't go for a walk, a quick 10-20 squats next to your desk is also sufficient. Because I know not everyone has the time to have a complete workout before having lunch. So save your carb heavy meals for when you've moved. Now, the third part, it's composition. It's ensuring that you pair your carbs with fat or fiber. Carbs alone, like we looked at earlier, spike your glucose very fast. Pair them with good fats like olive oil, avocado, and fibers like leafy vegetables. So think your dark leafy greens, vegetables, salads. They'll slow your digestion and prevent those crashes. So having a much more balanced composition in your plate, example like I've just showed you on the screen, where you have chicken, rice, as well as avocado, is a good way of ensuring that you have a good balance of different food varieties. Now, finally, it's all about consistency. Repeating the structure daily. You want to keep your breakfast and lunch very similar for the next 2 weeks if you're trying this protocol for the first time. And that consistency lets your body regulate more efficiently and gives you that data. It allows you to know whether this is working or not. All in all, you've just got the framework, understanding how to regulate your energy throughout the day without going through those slumps. And this is how your meals should feel. They should be predictable, they should be steady, they should be repeatable. And all in all, it's for you to understand that you don't need more caffeine in your system, you don't need more willpower, but you do need to flatten this curve. Very much the case. And when you eat in sequence with that context I just spoke around, energy stops feeling random. It's much more predictable. You understand how your body regulates energy better. And that's when you start running your body like you do with your business, with systems, with a systematic approach. Now, if you want to learn more about how I use these strategies with the clients I work with, feel free to book a call. I work with entrepreneurs, executives, and business operators to elevate and optimize their health. Otherwise, stay tuned for more videos on health and optimization. I'll catch you very soon.